Am I making a lot of noise?
Hi everyone, Damien Reeves here, ready to start the webinar. Okay, welcome everyone. Now, this is the first time that we've used Microsoft Events for a webinar, so we think we know what we're doing, but it remains to be proven in the real world. So welcome everyone. A bit of housekeeping first. I've got a really lot to get through, and I'm going to try and do that in as quickly a time as possible. There are a couple of things I want to show you in detail, and some things I'm going to tell you about and skip over. Feel free to ask any questions, and I won't be able to answer you at the moment, but I do have a couple of elves, Kate and Julie, helping with the Q&A. You should be able to see the Q&A button next to the leave button up the I think it's on the top of your screen there. I'm not sure, but if you should be able to see a little Q&A icon. If anybody wants to jump in there and just ask a a question just to make sure that that's all working, that'd be great. Okay. All right, now before we get, oh yeah, sorry, we'll collect all those, any questions that are asked, and answer them and send them to everyone who registered, along with a recording of this webinar. This webinar will also be available on our knowledge base for people who are not able to come. I know that a lot of people are busy. All right, now before we get started, I want to acknowledge the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land that I'm on. I'd also like to pay my respects to the Wurundjeri elders, past, present and emerging, and extend this respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait people from other organisations and communities who are with us today. Okay, so why are we here? What's covered in today's webinar? Well, this is our annual Christmas webinar. In fact, it's exactly a year from last year's Christmas webinar, 17th of December last year, and we talk about what we've been doing and what's coming up. We're also going to talk about how these things are going to affect you and try to put that emphasis on it. All right, so first of all, let's talk about what we've been doing. Now, I've put 5 things down here that I'm going to talk about a little bit more. Continued improvement, which is something that's always at the top of my list. Chintaro Insights, we've been waiting a long time and we're ready to show you some of that. Chintaro Assist, something new that we've hinted about and we've started on. Chintaro SaaS, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Software as a service and what that means. And training improvements. So they're the things that we've been working on lately, as well as lots of other strategic things that are happening in the background that I'm not ready to talk about. Right, first of all, continued improvement. That's the first point. So that's something that as an organisation we really believe in, continuously trying to improve the offering that we have and the service that we provide you. So how have we been doing that? Regular releases, as you know, and some of you get sick of regular releases. We've been steadily putting out regular releases based on our support experiences, based on requests people have had, based on things that are needed for statute reporting and etc. So we've been putting out a lot of releases during this year, and we're about to put out another one, which I'll talk about in a minute. We've also improved our testing of releases. We've implemented during this year a fairly rigorous release program, which has testing program, which has slowed down releases sometimes, but the release doesn't go out till all the items have been tested and passed testing, and we do smoke testing, which is where we test all the general functions of Chintaro to make sure that nothing unexpected happens. Occasionally, we've still had things get through the cracks, but by and large, this has been very successful. We're improving support, response and resolution. A big part of our business and a big part of our mission is to try to provide our users with as much help and support as we can. During the year, we've restructured our support team, and Joy Frank is now the support manager, and we have a weekly meeting where we look at all of the support KPIs and levels and report on those and make sure that we are improving and meeting those KPIs, which are pretty strict KPIs, both in responding to your problems and resolving your problems. At the moment, we're reaching our KPIs but as I say, they're pretty ambitious KPIs. We've also implemented single sign-on, or SSO as that's called. Many of you won't know what that is or care, but those of you who do will recognise that that's something that's really useful. If you're a cloud user and you're interested in single sign-on and you're not using it, get in touch with us and we'll talk to you about that. We've also been conducting a cloud security review. We understand how crucial it is that we absolutely guarantee the security of your data that's held in Chintaro Cloud. We've engaged a third-party security expert firm that we have a partnership with, and we've installed anti-threat detection and advanced threat detection and various other things, and we're taking that very seriously. If anyone wants to talk to us about our security policies, we'll be happy to do that. Another thing we've been working on is improving our training programs and our training. Many of you will have been trained when you first started with Chintaro, and probably that's it. Many of you who started with the organisation after they were using Chintaro have probably never been trained. We have had for some years a learning management system on the web that has had probably limited success, I would say. The take-up hasn't always been great, and we've recognised that. We're going to, and I'll talk a bit more about that on the slide about how the approaches we're going to take to make sure that's better. So now we're going to talk about Chintaro Insights, or Chintaro Business Intelligence. Now, what I've done here is I've taken a slide directly from last year's Christmas webinar, and it wasn't new. It wasn't new then. We were working on it then, and we've still been working on it now. But I talked about what it is. So just so you understand what I'm saying, and I do actually have a mouth, but not in that picture. It's a web-based set of tools that uses your Chintaro data to provide you with more effective strategic, tactical, and operational insights. And this can help you get instant feedback on how the business is going based on various KPIs and indicators that will enable you to make improvements, to monitor the business, and to report upwards to boards and statutory authorities, etc. So you've heard a lot of talk about it. Some of you will be getting so sick of talking about it. So now it's time for us to have a look at it. So now I'm going to show you the real-time working Chintaro Insights. Okay, so let me get there. All right. This is what Chintaro Insights looks like. This is the first screen. So the opening screen, when you join Chintaro Insights, you're going to see this overview. And you can see that there's a few things on here. We've got metrics up the top which show things like occupancy rates, tenantable turnaround, so how quickly you're turning around tenancies that are tenantable, how quickly you're turning around your untenantable rooms or properties, how many tenancies maintained during the year, your evictions percentage, how many urgent repairs you're completing on time, how many non-urgent repairs you're completing on time, percentage of rent outstanding, complaints resolved, things like that. So they're general business indicators that would relate to anyone. And there's more information about each of those things down here. So this shows our tenancy, a picture of our tenancy for the reporting period, which, as you can see over here, I'm looking at the 1st of July 2019 to the 30th of June 2020. And that shows for those months the total tenancies, how many were new and how many exits there were, how many tenancies at the start of the year, how many tenancies at the exit at the end. And of course, and you can do things like change that period. So scrolling those things around, they're fairly interactive, these tools, and you can click on a particular month and see what those figures are just for the month of February. As I do that sort of thing, down in my selections, I'm seeing February. All right, so there's information about our arrears. Now, don't worry about the data there. Don't panic that this organisation is $2 million in arrears. It's only just test data that we're looking at here, so nothing to get alarmed about. How much income we've charged versus we've collected. We're showing income by rent group, so you can see that if I turn this one around, you'll see that the very big one there is rent with some tiny little other things, amenities, keys, gardening, damage, water, utilities, etc. I can see that there's not much complaints activity. We're not really looking there, but our exits and evictions, 6% of our exits are evictions, which falls within certain range. Here's a graph showing our exits over a period of time and our evictions over periods of time, what numbers they are. Further down, we're seeing things like an occupancy overview. We've got 7.9% vacant untenantable for the years, 10% vacant tenantable, and 82.1% occupied. We can see that we've got property conditions in here. We can see that 60% is excellent, 30% is good, 10% poor. Obviously, that's just fairly generic data, but you can have your own condition ratings in there with the standards that you need in your organisation. We can see we've got 2,280 clients currently housed, and our repairs, we've got an average job spend of $617.63, and so we've completed 7,524 jobs, and we can look at the types of jobs there, and we can see that we haven't really allocated them to a large amount of jobs. So that's all very useful. We can do more things like, I just want to see all of the long-term information, and that will, if we choose long-term there, that will change everything on here to be long-term. So these figures all now just apply to our long-term program, or I could include in the long-term rooming. I'll consider that part of long-term. So now I'm seeing all of the rooming program. Okay, we can, and those selections will show down here, long-term and rooming, and they will follow through. I'm going to get rid of them now, so we're back to our standards. So that gives you an idea of the overall dashboard for Chintaro Insights. Now, this is a sort of generic dashboard. We have a couple of other dashboards. In Australia, we have 2 statutory reporting programs. We don't have one in New Zealand yet, but I'm sure that it will be coming, and when it does, we'll be customising an overview to make sure that counts. Similarly with Aboriginal housing, we'll be adding a dashboard to apply to all those things that FACS AHO wants to see, and we're already reporting from Chintaro. But the most common scheme in Australia is the NRS. So here's our NRS overview. Now, if you're familiar with the statutory reporting analyzer that we've built into Chintaro, you know that we are reporting data on some of these performance outcomes, which is what the NRS reporting is based on reporting outcomes. Now, we can see these numbers here, 1.2, etc., all those, and we can see a tick, an exclamation mark, or a cross. Now, the tick means your figures are within the acceptable guidelines of the NRS. And an exclamation mark means you're close to the acceptable guidelines, but not quite there. And a cross means you are not achieving the acceptable guidelines. So if we look down at these, we'll see that, performance outcome, let me bring that back as it was. Performance outcome is about tenancy management. So 1.2 is the eviction rate, and that's 7% within the guidelines required by the NRS. 2.2, that's urgent repairs complete. And we can see that 97.5% of our urgent repairs are completed on time, which is fantastic. And we've got a little bit more information about the categories for what those repairs are, etc. Non-urgent repairs complete, that's 2.2B. 95.3%. 6.1A, we're not quite hitting it. I'll click on that, and that takes us down to our occupancy rate. So our occupancy rate is 96.1%, so we're not quite there at the moment. We can see that our tenancy turnover, we are meeting, that's 61%. Our turnaround of vacant tenantable, 58 days to turn around a vacant tenantable, which is not meeting the success criteria or the performance outcomes recommended. The turnaround vacant untenantable, similarly. Our rent outstanding is 1.2%, that's fine, and rent foregone is 2.4% of our rent, so that's all acceptable within the guidelines of the NRS. So that gives us a really clear picture at how the organisation is going based on the NRS standards and what you're going to have to report to the NRS at any time. Similarly, the VRS, those of you in Victoria will be familiar with these KPMs, which are published by the HHS, and we have customised this screen to match those KPMs. So we can see that KPM 3 is our vacant tenable turnaround. Again, we saw that we weren't making that when we looked at the NRS screen. We're also not making it now because the data, of course, is the same underlying it. Vacant tenable turnaround. Well, in this case, we're almost right. We're in the acceptable but could be improved, I think, category. It is the amber. So there we are. KPM 4, which is our rent outstanding, that's fine. 15.3% of rent is outstanding. KPM 5, our tenancies maintained, etc. Well, we've only maintained in our long-term program 70%, so that's not quite there, etc. So our complaints, occupancy, KPM 7, KPM 8 evictions, KPM 9 and 10. There's another way of looking at our urgent and non-urgent repairs, and you'll see that the standards are different, and also the measurement mechanism in VRS is different than in NRS. That's why they're different. Now, I can almost sense you people, you Kiwis, saying, "Well, what's this got to do with us?" The point of these regulations are to monitor that organisations are performing to a certain level. So these KPIs can be used internally by you. You don't have to report to the statutory authorities, but they are extremely useful KPIs. So that's great. We've got 3 dashboards that we can look at in different ways. I'll go back to our general one. There's more to it than that. Like, let's say we were looking before at repairs, and we want to see a bit more about repairs. If we click on repairs, we go into a more detailed dashboard of repairs. So we see we've got various figures, jobs completed, average job spend, etc. All of that stuff up there. We can click on urgent. Yeah, we'll just have the urgent ones. Thanks. How does that look? Okay, we'll have the non-urgent ones as well. Again, that's marking our selections down here. We have things like, sorry, I've set the resolution a bit high on this because I wanted to make sure that everyone could read it clearly. Jobs completed on time, top dollar spend, average versus total, jobs completed not on time, forecast maintenance tasks, the average spends per jobs, etc. And up here, we can say, well, I'm looking at these figures by item group. Let me show it to me by works type, if that's what you're looking, and they're works types or item type. You know, those things will all change, tradesperson, etc. You can look at all those things by those different mechanisms. Similar now, so if I then go back to my overview screen, I can click on clients. Currently housed, say, and that will take me through to a client's click-through screen. And there I have information about my clients, average incomes, how many active clients, how many active income earners, the average age, the average weekly household income. I've got information about alerts, not much there. Main incomes by clients, so we can see what they are. We can look at clients by disability, clients by heritage, and you might want to look at it. In Chintaro, there is an Indigenous field. There's also a field about Aboriginality, so you can change the way those things look. You can look at the clients by country, etc., age distribution, and then down here we're looking at the total clients with disabilities and their average incomes, total Indigenous clients, for example, and the breakdown of income types and what those total incomes are for each of the different income types in a graph type view down there. We can do similarly with occupancy. Where's our occupancy box? We can click on there and that will take us through to a more comprehensive view of our occupancy. So we can see occupancy rate, etc., various different graphs and ways to look at things. Remember, these can all be filtered as you want to go. And I wouldn't worry about that rent foregone. There's obviously something tricky with that one. But anyway, another one to look at is properties. And let me go back to our overview. Click through on our properties, and that's going to give us things like the average market rent, inspections completed, inspections overdue, the type of inspections, by alerts, etc., inspections, schedules, lots of information there. Now, I'm going to just change my database because I want to show you a couple of other things. So bear with me for a second. I think it's this one. Yep. And I need to put my username in. This is, of course, secure. So if you're a Chintaro Cloud user, you'll just have access to it based on your normal Parallels login. But if you're not a Chintaro Cloud user, you'll need to be given a login and a password, which is what I'm completing at the moment. And I'm accessing a different set of figures here. Okay, so what I might show you now, if we click on our tenancy screen, we have a lot more information about tenancies, active tenancies, etc., tenancies by type, tenancies by tenancy manager. We can just look at, just show me the active tenancies and the active arrears tenancies. All of those things will change. And at any time I can take that filter off down there. I can say, just show me, excuse me, all of Bernie Rhodes's tenancies, or Bernie Rhodes and Gary Morris's tenancies, and all of those figures will change throughout all of these visualizations. I'll take that off. I can also change date ranges, programs, etc. I can just show me long term for all these things again. All those things change. So you can look at lots of your information in lots of different ways. Now, as we look down further, we've got more information, and at the bottom of each of these screens, we have a list of all of the sort of data that makes up these screens. So if you filter down to, as I said, just show me all of the tenant, you can filter down here, just show me all of the Noel Joneses, and that will change all of these things up here to be Noel Joneses. We'll see in our selections over here, Noel Jones, but I've then got a list of all of Noel Jones's tenancies, and just say, give me long terms. So let me tick that. Okay, I don't have any long terms. All right, so now we have a list of all of those Noel Jones ones here. So we can download that list like we would with from Chintaro, from any screen, and we have a spreadsheet full of the data that makes up that information. Now, this data is information that comes directly from Chintaro, and you can use that to drill into your problem areas, your areas that you need to investigate, areas that you need to manage, etc. As well as, so I'll go back to our overview screen. As well as clicking through these visualizations to get to the subscreens, they're all here as well. So if I wanted to go straight to, say, my income screen, I can click on there. Look, give me the analysis, and here's the analysis of all my income. I can see that my total income was 26,000. It's all rent in this case. This is a fairly basic data set. There's what I'm charging by transaction group, the total of my charges, income charges by program, property by program, by tenancy manager, etc. Income by program, charges by program, and down here, further down, we've got our data sheet like we do with all of those. All right, so I think that hopefully that, I don't want to go on for too long because I know that everyone's got limited time, and we will be providing you with a lot more information about how this works and what's contained, but hopefully that gives you an idea of what Chintaro Insights does and what it can do for you. So I'm going to go back now to my webinar, which is here. Lovely. All right. And so I know the question everyone's going to ask is, how much is this going to cost? And I have talked about this in the past. Existing Chintaro cloud organizations. So if you're an existing cloud customer, you get one user of Chintaro Insights at no extra charge. And you'll need to tell us which one of those users it is. If you've only got one cloud user, well, obviously that user is going to get access to Chintaro. Existing Chintaro cloud organizations who want additional users, or typo, Annie, additional users, that should say users there. Well, I made the typo, just my proofreader didn't pick it up. All right, $500 a year per Australian dollars for any additional Chintaro Insights users. Any non-cloud users, so if you're not a Chintaro cloud user and you want to use Chintaro Insights, that will work fine as long as you're using Chintaro SQL at the moment, and that will cost you $500 Australian dollars per annum per user. As I say, Chintaro SQL users only at this stage. We will bring that into access. And we will also help anyone who is using Chintaro Access to move to Chintaro SQL if they want to, and we'll assist people to do that in a fairly timely manner. Okay, now remember, this is an extra charge for you, but there is no obligation to use it. If you're a cloud customer, you get it for nothing. But if you do think this is something that will be valuable for your organisation, there's a fairly low fee that is going to cover our costs in providing it. Remember, no obligation. The other thing you're going to want to know is how you get it. Well, this is going to be released on the 18th of January. It's ready now, but we didn't want to release it the week before Christmas and then have all of our support team go on leave for a couple of weeks and have you sitting there without any support. So we've decided to hold this off until everyone comes back from the break. And so 18th of January, you'll be able to use this. You'll be able to use Chintaro Insights. We will be providing you with instructions after this. We'll be sending out a bit of a marketing pack on it, and it will tell you how to get started. You're going to have to ask us to set it up, and you're going to have to complete a very short training program that will, that will make sure that you at least can hit the ground running, and we'll tell you more about that later. All right, I'm going to leave Chintaro Insights there for the moment and talk about Chintaro Assist. Now, this is a bit more of a something new that some of you you would have heard about because we put a bit of a request for interest on the bulletin. We're introducing a program in 2021, so this coming year, called Chintaro Assist, where we are going to try and manage and update your data for you provide feedback on action required, prepare statutory reporting, etc. Now, at the moment, we're just building the services. We're planning what services we can provide, how it's going to work. We've got a fair bit to go yet. We're working with a few pilot sites at the moment where we are doing some of these things, and we're going to start to expand those services so that by the time we're ready to bring this to the wider Chintaro family, we'll have a bit more certainty about what we can do and what's not really going to work. So that's what's happening. The plan is that we're going to try to do everything we can that will enable you to get on with the important work that you do rather than updating Chintaro. So some of that stuff we really know how to do well, and it might be a bit of a nuisance for you, so we'll take that on for you. Depending on how much we're going to provide, there will probably be some sort of fee involved. We don't know what that's going to be yet. We're going to be keeping it as low as we possibly can, but we'll let you know more about that as it comes closer. Well, the sort of things that we're planning on doing is importing our Centrepay and bank files, importing and updating property transactions, finalising invoices, generating rents and charges, updating incomes, exporting of GL files, occupancy calculations, managing your word mergers for you, sending bulk correspondence, doing a bit of arrears processing, possibly based on the rules, providing supporting materials for tribunal hearings, assisting with bank reconciliations and things like that, possibly even setting up your rent reviews, and providing alerts with things like missed payments or overdue maintenance has happened, when rent reviews are due, inspections are due, when Centrepay deductions have been changed by tenants, those sorts of things. And we'll be trying to present that information to you and the organisation in very simple ways, similar to those dashboards that we looked at in Insights, so that we can basically give you, here's a view of the business, here's what everything's up to date, everything's good, and you've got a couple of things you need to look at. So it's a type of one-page activity summary. But we've got a fair bit of work to do yet before that's available. I'm just telling you that's coming. Chintaro SaaS web and mobile. Okay, we want to be completely cloud and mobile based during this year. We are working on that now. We understand that everyone has a lot of, well, how should I put this? We've all invested a lot in Chintaro interface, in learning how to use it and managing its foibles and its features. And so we'll be making sure that what we provide in web browsers and on mobile phones and tablets works pretty much the same way that Chintaro works, so you'll be able to use it without being retrained. But it will take advantage of current technology and that mobility, so you'll be able to use that. It will exist alongside Chintaro Classic, and I put that in quotes as a bit of a joke of what we're calling Chintaro at the moment as we start to look forward. Chintaro Classic, so don't think that we're going to immediately kick you out of Chintaro and make you jump onto the web. We're not going to do that, but we are going to make the web available to you. We're also working on Chintaro training improvements. We recognise we've had a Chintaro, as I said, a learning management system for some time, and it hasn't had huge take up. So we're doing a complete overhaul. We're moving our learning management system to a much more powerful one that will be able to provide you with feedback on your users on what training they've completed, what modules they've completed, who needs retraining, etc. You'll be able to use this to train new staff as you turn staff over without any cost, and we'll also be using it as part of bringing on new customers. We've recognised that we really need to simplify the training. A lot of our training videos they go through all of the things that you don't necessarily need to know, and users tend to turn off. So we are providing simple modules that will take 5 minutes to show you how to do basic things, and then more modules to expand on those as you need them. We're going to have our complete LMS completed by April 2021. We're working on it now, and when you receive your Chintaro Insights invitation, you will get your first experience of the new training environment, because we're going to make you complete that short training module before you can use Insights. What's coming in the short term? Well, Christmas break's coming. Many of our staff, myself excluded, will be taking a break over the next few weeks. For us, it's been a tough year. I know it's been a tough year for everyone, and we're certainly not complaining, but it has been pretty intensive, and many of us need a bit of a recharge at the moment. So we'll have a couple of people on deck throughout all of the breaks, so please don't think we're going to leave you in the lurch, but by and large we'll be slowing down. The only thing we're going to be doing over the next few weeks is supporting customers. Okay, then on 18th of January, when everyone's back on deck and we've had a bit of time to get organised, we're releasing Insights, as I mentioned. On the 18th of January, that same day, the new version of Chintaro will be released, and we plan to have new releases in April, July, October, and January of next year. So, sorry, of the year after. So that's going to be our release schedule. I'll briefly talk about a couple of highlights for the new release. Word Merge Plus, that's something we've been talking about for a while. Primarily what this is taking the word merge functionality that's all through Chintaro and making it better, addressing some of the weaknesses of it and some of the problems that people have been nagging about, and rightly so, for quite a long time. So the main ways this is going to change is whenever you do a word merge, Chintaro will save your the document you create either as a PDF or a Word document into a pre-specified folder, create a link on that tenancy or property or maintenance task or whatever to the PDF of that document or the Word document, depending on which one you prefer, create notes to contain the full content of each document and a link to the PDF. Even for bulk, this will work for bulk word merges as well. Rather, at the moment, one of the big limitations is bulk word merges don't save the contents. So basically, the word merges will work pretty much the same, but you'll just get more access to the documents and better records of the documents and no copy and pasting and no saving Word documents into folders and creating links, etc. That'll all be done automatically. So that's a fairly big change, and that's the main one we've been working on for this release. There is another one that I just thought I'd mention. We will have a manage views screen, manage save views. Many of you will know that we've been pushing saved views throughout Chintaro to try to help you just see the information that you're interested in rather than being overwhelmed by a whole lot of other information, and also to have different save views depending on what you're doing, so you'll see the fields that are relevant to the task you're doing. Now, that if there are a lot of saved views, they can become unwieldy. So we're giving you a screen to help you manage that. And that's largely come out of the Chintaro training webinar we ran in November. That this is one of the things that people needed to see. So that will be in there. There'll be more, of course, and more information will be provided to you on the release date. But they're two of the highlights that I just want to mention. All right, now if that's all you wanted to come and see, feel free to go and have your lunch. But now I'm going to talk about the Chintaro roadmap, where we're going, and probably in a bit more detail than I've ever done before. So the way I'm going to focus this is where we're taking Chintaro, and we've been doing a lot of strategic planning both as a business and as a product, and really planning out where we're going and what we're doing. I'm going to tell you how we're going to get there and how that will help you. So give me another 5 minutes and I'll give you the rundown of what we're planning. So where are we going? Continuous improvement, once again, always up the top of our list. We are continually trying to improve, make Chintaro better, help you to be loyal to Chintaro and enjoy using Chintaro. Good for our business, good for you. Continuous improvement, nothing new there. We know we have to respond to the changing environment. One of the things in this environment is that everything changes all the time. Just various statutory reporting, various new programs, new rules, new laws, new pandemics, new working situations, etc. We need to respond to that changing environment. We want to help you focus on managing your business. I'll talk more about each of these points in a minute. We want to automate and simplify, and we want to take guidance from the sector. So they're the 5 points that we are going to try and I guess there are touchstones when we're planning what we're doing with Chintaro. So let me talk about each of those in a little bit more detail. Continuous improvement, more features, better training, and some of the things, we want to bring in tenant satisfaction levels, which are something that statutory reporting requires that Chintaro doesn't do very well at this stage. Vacancy processing, a weakness in Chintaro, we're asked to do it. There are quite a few more things that we get asked to do regularly, as you all know, those of you who ask, and we're going to be looking at continually adding new features to assist and provide a more comprehensive experience. We're going to stick to a more reliable release schedule. This is something that IT departments get annoyed with us about, that we put out too many releases and they're fairly haphazard. So we're going to plan releases, announce the dates and stick to them. All right, how do we get there with responding to the changing environment? Well, we're going to keep up with technology. Part of that, of course, is Chintaro Web Mobile SaaS. Most systems these days are web-based, and while we do have Chintaro Cloud, which is a sort of pseudo web-based system, we're going to go the whole hog and move into what will be the way of the future, or is, no, it's not the way of the future, it's the way of the now, or the way of even the past. Our apps are based on phones and on computer screens, tablets, whatever that is. So Chintaro will be consistent with that. And we'll constantly be adding new features as the social housing environment changes. We will be working with our customers and with peak bodies, regulators, etc., to make sure that we are ahead of that curve. We want you to help you focus on managing your business rather than doing Chintaro work. And to the two key points, I'm not going to talk about them again, but business intelligence and Chintaro Assist are two examples of how we're going to help you manage your business and also help you with your business compliance as part of Chintaro Assist. We're going to automate and simplify. What does that mean? Well, we want more automation, notifications and schedules in Chintaro. So we want Chintaro to be able to help you with planning, to tell you when things are due, to make Outlook appointments for you, etc. So we'll be looking to build that sort of automation into Chintaro. Chintaro Assist obviously will help with you to automate, and we intend to have better integrations. Now, currently we have a few integrations. We intend to bring SharePoint Office 365 in on better integration level. SPM Assets we're working with at the moment to integrate. We already have Property Inspection Manager and Property Safe Maintenance Manager and various other GLs. We're also planning to build Chintaro APIs, which is API means Application Programming Interface, which means that programs can talk to each other without us having to customize them. So you can use third-party tools to link Chintaro, for example, to your general ledger or to your client management system or whatever, and have those work both ways. More information about that later on. Another thing that we really want to focus on is taking guidance from the sector, and that happens now to a certain extent. Most of our changes are because we talk to our customers, we get asked for a lot of requests, we have a lot of visionary customers who understand where the sector's going and talk to us about that. We also have lots of squeaky wheels who, whenever they're using a system, say this could work better if it did this, and they tell us, and we do that sort of stuff. So that all that's great, but it tends to be a bit haphazard. There are plenty of people who don't sort of participate in any of those things, so we're going to try to include those people who want to be included. We will be setting up a Chintaro steering committee that will consist of various people out there in the user base that we would like to assist us with planning each of our quarterly releases by prioritising the things that we've been asked for and telling us what we're missing and what they think the sector needs. Now we're going to try to put that steering committee together based on different parts of our user base, so the different people will represent different areas, countries, and programs and segments of the sector. If you feel strongly that you'd like to be on that steering committee, feel free to contact me. I've already been talking to a few people about that, and I'm going to reserve the right to include on it who I want to. But anyway, feel free to put your hand up if you're interested. All right, we're going to make enhancement requests available to all users. We have sometimes I show people the list of enhancement requests we've got, which is astronomical, but we're going to make sure that you can see all of those requests and provide feedback on them, by expanding the what's coming screen, putting that into a bit of structure. And one of the things that we've started doing a lot more than we ever have before, and we want to keep doing, is communicating with regulators and peak bodies, putting together those NRS and VRS screens. I've been talking to the two different regulators in charge of those schemes about interpretations of some of that data and how we can best reflect that, etc. And they've been great, and I intend to keep working with them as time goes on. Peak bodies like CHIA and the AHO and stuff we already do work with, and we intend to keep doing that and expanding on that and talking to peak bodies about what their users might need. All right, not long to go now. Steps forward. Okay, this is about timeline, Chintaro Insights. That'll as I've said, that'll be January 2021. Our Chintaro Classic releases, January, April, July, October, are going to be the 4 months that we release. Our Chintaro Steering Committee, I want that in place by March. Integrated self-service training, that should say April. I've made an inconsistency there. That's going to be April. It'll hopefully be ready in March, but April. Chintaro Assist will be coming out in May. Chintaro SaaS, that's June 2021. So the end of this financial year, we are going to have Chintaro Mobile up and running. We've already been working on it, and we're confident we can hit that deadline. Our tenant portal, we've been talking with some organisations about the needs for a tenant portal, self-serve tenant information, things like, the tenants can request or can look at their financial status, they can lodge repairs, they can book appointments, etc. So we're talking about the sorts of things that need to be on a tenant portal. And I mentioned already the Chintaro APIs. So that's basically our timeline for 2021. What do these things mean for users? We need to try to think about all of those things, what they're going to help you do. And I'm trying to sort of sum that up here. Better visibility of performance and position, which means better control of your business. So that's, I think you can see that we've put things in place that will assist there. We want Chintaro to be more accessible. So mobile and web-based, it's going to mean you can use Chintaro from anywhere, and that's been a big thing during the pandemic. Obviously, people have needed to work from home and from places other than the office. We want better efficiencies for users and managers. We want you to spend less time using Chintaro to update and more time doing your job and using Chintaro to get information and to get the benefits of it rather than to have you wasting time updating. We want more comprehensive outputs and information. A lot of users get frustrated that even though they know they can get a report somewhere, they don't know where to get it and how to get it, and they can't get the information they want. With Chintaro Insights and the Statutory Reporting Analyzer and other tools, we want to make sure that you have all of your information at your fingertips, to plagiarise an old Microsoft expression. All right, so that's all, folks. Okay, so he's going to put me on now. Am I on? Well, so that's it. That's it for the webinar. Look, I really appreciate your time. I know everyone's busy, and this is a really good chance for us to crystallise everything we're planning and let you know what's going on. If anyone's got any feedback they want to provide, feel free. Contact support. If anyone wants to talk to me over the next few weeks, I'll be around. So contact support and ask for a conversation. If there are things you want to talk about in more detail or unpack any of this, or talk in detail about your organisational needs as relates to any of this stuff, I'm happy to do that. So let us know. All right, so that's it. I hope you, look, thanks, while I've got you all here, thanks to our team. What a great job the support team does and helps me put all this placing together. I'm the person who asks everyone else to do all this work that we're doing. I don't do any of the actual work, and they do. So thanks to everyone within the Chintaro team, and thank you to all of the Chintaro users for being such a great user base. We love you. We love working with you. We love the work you do. We really respect that. We know it's been a tough year, and we've been happy to be part of that with you. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas break if you're having one. If you don't, I hope it's the best that it can be, and let's make sure that 2021 is a great year for all of us. Thank you very much.